From the ABC News 4 Pinpoint Weather Center, I'm meteorologist Tom Crawford on the Big Talker, 1250 WTMA.
Skies are clear right now, 79 degrees here at the Big Talker, 1250 WTMA. With your traffic and weather together every 10 minutes on the 8s. It's 6:38 now. Nice to have you with us this morning. I'm John Quincy, producer of the Morning Buzz. Richard Todd back on Monday, and Jack Hunter, the Southern Avenger, sleeping in, had a late-night gig with his band Dante's Inferno, but he'll be in at 8 o'clock this morning for the talk show portion of the Morning Buzz. So me and Fred are holding down the fort until then. We appreciate you getting up and going with us this morning, and we're doing our usual stuff at the usual time, like the Entertainment Buzz. And here's all your show business news from the Morning Buzz on 1250 WTMA. Dick Clark is going to be honored at the Daytime Emmys on Sunday. He is joining folks like Cher and Simon Cowell and Barry Manilow and Garth Brooks and Marie Osmond and Anne Margaret and Frankie Avalon and Jay Leno, and the Spinners will all be there Sunday in Las Vegas to honor Dick Clark and American Bandstand. The honor is part of the Daytime Emmy Awards. Regis Philbin is hosting the broadcast on CBS. Once again, he's up for Best Talk Show with Live with Regis and Kelly. There are only 3 shows in that category, including The Ellen DeGeneres Show and last year's winner, Rachel Ray. Regis and Kelly are also up for Best Talk Show host, along with Rachel Ray, Bonnie Hunt, Dr. Oz, and last year's winner, The Women of the View. General Hospital has 18 nominations, which is the most for any show. Well, 1 year to the day after his death, more than 250 pieces of Michael Jackson memorabilia will be auctioned off today at the Planet Hollywood Casino in Las Vegas. ABC's Al Mancini reports from Vegas.
Martin Nolan of Julian's Auction House says in the year since Michael Jackson's death, interest in his memorabilia has increased dramatically.
He has become highly collectible and highly valuable.
One of Michael's famed gloves is expected to sell for between $20,000 and $30,000.
Glove number 3 of the 5 gloves he wore during the Victory Tour.
Also up for sale, $700,000 worth of furniture.
This furniture was intended for his home in Kent, where Michael planned to live during the This Is It concert tour.
If you aren't in Las Vegas, you can bid online at juliansauctions.com. Al Mancini, ABC News, Las Vegas.
Well, to mark the 1-year anniversary of his death, the staff of Billboard magazine compiled the definitive Michael Jackson hit list, and the results weren't what they expected. ABC's Dave Alpert reports.
Billboard editor Gail Mitchell says she was surprised.
People might have expected Billie Jean to be number 1, and actually that's number 2. I would have thought Thriller would be right up there in the top 10, and it's not. It comes in at number 28.
Thriller is the best-selling album of all time. Since the Jackson 5's first chart topper 40 years ago, Michael Jackson had dozens of hits. But the biggest wasn't a solo smash or a tune with his brothers. According to Billboard, this duet with Paul McCartney ranks as the most popular Michael Jackson song of all time. Dave Alpert, ABC News.
A year ago, few people knew the name Dr. Conrad Murray. Today, Michael Jackson's fans know him as the doctor who gave the singer the fatal dose of a powerful drug. On this 1-year anniversary of Michael Jackson's death, ABC's Alex Stone updates us on the case against Dr. Murray.
Please, don't worry.
We rarely hear him talk publicly, except in this YouTube statement.
I told the truth.
Dr. Conrad Murray is the enemy of many of Michael Jackson's fans worldwide.
He's looking at a maximum of 4 years in prison if the state can prove that he was the cause of Michael Jackson's death.
ABC News legal analyst Royal Oaks, Murray's manslaughter trial is in its early stages but could begin late this year.
The doctor really has an uphill battle in his defense.
As of now, Murray is still allowed to practice medicine in California, Texas, and Nevada. Alex Stone, ABC News.
A former backup singer for Lynyrd Skynyrd has died. JoJo Billingsley, whose real name was Deborah Jo White, has died at her home in Cullman, Alabama of cancer, according to the Cullman Times. She was only 58. White toured with Lynyrd Skynyrd for 3.5 years until 1977. White later became a minister and a Christian singer. Singer Johnny Van Zant says White had been a member of the Skynyrd family for a long time, and it was tough to hear of another member going. The Lilith Fair Tour, the all-female music festival organized by Sarah McLachlan, kicks off this weekend in Calgary, Alberta. It includes such headliners as Sheryl Crow, Mary J. Blige, also Carly Simon, Rihanna, Norah Jones, Kesha, and of course, Sarah McLachlan. Also, ABC's Dave Alpert was in there to talk to Sarah about the tour.
It's the first Lilith Fair tour in 11 years.
There's so many great female artists out there, actually more so than when we started, so it's a perfect time to bring it back.
Sarah McLachlan will headline all of the shows with a different lineup of other acts on each date.
I just want to put on a great, diverse musical show, and I think we have an amazing turnout of artists this year, and I'm really excited about the bill.
Ticket sales have been slow, but fans skipping Lilith Fair because they hope to see McLachlan do a solo tour may be making a mistake.
I have a kid who's in school. That's why the whole summer tour thing is so alluring.
The tour runs through mid-August. Dave Alpert, ABC News.
Well, KISS continues to push the boundaries of band merchandise. The latest offering, the KISS Refrigerator. It comes in 2 versions. The counter-high compact fridge has the KISS Destroyer art on it, while the KISS Army logo is on the portable party fridge. No word on when the fridges will be available. Sammy Hagar is writing his memoirs. He says he's been writing it his entire life, and it's time to put it between 2 covers. The book is due next year. Buddy Holly is going into storage for a while. A life-size bronze statue in Holly's hometown of Lubbock, Texas, will be moved into storage while the city prepares a new park and demolishes a broken fountain, according to the Lubbock Avalanche Journal. The statue will be cleaned while it's away from public display. It's expected to be reinstalled in the fall. Debbie Gibson and Tiffany will duke it out in a swamp for a movie on Sci-Fi. The Hollywood Reporter reports they will co-star in Mega Python versus Gatoroid. Gibson will play an animal rights activist who frees imported snakes and frees them in the Everglades. Tiffany will play a park ranger who goes overboard trying to save alligators. The script calls for them to fight at a party and then battle in the swamp. Sci-Fi said the idea came about because Tiffany wanted to work with Gibson and make fun of the rivalry between them the media created. Of course, they were big stars, teenage stars, back in the 80s. Speaking of movies, Grown Ups is in a theater near you. Adam Sandler rounds up some of his closest friends for the new comedy, Grown Ups. ABC's David Blaustein has this review.
In Grown Ups, Adam Sandler, Chris Rock, Kevin James, David Spade, and Rob Schneider play old friends who reunite after their childhood basketball coach dies.
Remember the guy I always tell you about, Rob?
Of course. Oh, and this must be your mother.
My wife. With families in tow, they spend the weekend together exchanging endearing Sandler-esque insults and sight gags, like Kevin James' breastfeeding son.
How old is he?
Oh, he's 48 months. That's 4. Yeah.
If you like Adam Sandler movies, and I do, you'll find Grown Ups moderately funny and kind of sweet. 3 out of 5 stars. David Blaustein, ABC News.
And that's your entertainment buzz on the Morning Buzz on 1250 WTMA. It's 648.
Radio Free Rocky D. Shucking back to husk on the corn of reality.
I like it.
There's a lot to think about that one.
Today from noon till 3.
1250 WTMA.
Weather Center meteorologist Tom Crawford on the Big Talker, 1250 WTMA.
Skies are clear, 79 degrees at the Big Talker, 1250 WTMA. We do have a heat advisory out for today, starting about noon, going till 8 o'clock tonight. Expect heat indices around 105 to 110, but actual high temperature, as Tom said, in the mid-90s. So stay out of direct sunlight and make sure that you're well hydrated here this afternoon. This is the Morning Buzz, and we do give you your traffic and weather together every 10 minutes on the 8s.
The Morning Buzz. Richard Todd, WTMA.
Well, happy Friday to you. I'm John Quincy, producer of the Morning Buzz. Jack Hunter sitting in for Richard Todd a little bit later on this morning at 8 o'clock for the call-in portion of the show. He had a gig with his band Dante's Inferno last night, and it was pretty late, but he's going to drag his butt out of bed and be here bright and bushy-tailed at 8 o'clock to answer your questions. It'll be a free-for-all Friday. You can talk about whatever you want to after 8 o'clock. You can talk about the elections, the politics that's going on, the Gulf oil spill, whatever you want to talk about, chime in after 8 at 556-1250. If you missed Wednesday's show, it's very, very interesting, especially the latter part of the 8 o'clock hour. It was the day after the primary election, and we were talking about some of the results. And, of course, one of the big surprises was that Henry Brown was defeated in the supervisor's race in Berkeley County. And a lot of people called in and were not saying some very good things about Henry Brown. They were glad that he was not going to be their supervisor. And so Henry Brown, as do all the great muckety-mucks in the low country, politically wise, all the movers and shakers, listen to the Morning Buzz, he decided he'd call in and chime in. And here's the way it went down with Henry Brown and Jack Hunter on the Morning Buzz, Wednesday morning just before 9 o'clock.
Yes, sir. Is this Henry Brown?
Yes.
Yes, sir. What you got for us today?
I was just checking in. I noticed that everybody's beating me up today. I just want to get some
WTMA, Total Money.
Good morning. TMA News Time is now 7:43, and with news about your money, it's the one and only Mark French from Scott and Stringfellow. Hey, Mark, how you doing?
Good morning, John. How are you doing?
Excellent. A lot going on in the news as far as money is concerned. I was really surprised the way our government spends and spends and spends, especially with money that we don't have. At the jobless bill, that was voted down, so a lot of folks that have been getting unemployment benefits will no longer continue to get those because their time is up. They didn't want to borrow any more money. Is that what happened?
Wasn't that interesting? It was very interesting. They did that last night. Under the program, I was just going to try and read some of this real quick. They said up in the air in other provisions that were to be included in the legislation included some $50 billion in new taxes to help offset the cost. They included an increase in levies paid by private investment groups, hedge funds, and real estate partnerships. Under our program, by June 2nd, jobless workers could receive up to 99 weeks of aid, including 26 basic work. So they're cutting back on that, but it looks like this morning, and we should start there. That will start feeling the impact fairly quickly. I think it was just a super concern over the budget. There was a lot of additional pork in there, apart from the actual jobs numbers, and
of course,
and they couldn't leave it alone. They couldn't just leave the bill stand by itself. I think if they had done that, they may have had the ability to actually get the bill through, but they added so much other stuff.
Earmarks.
There you go. And then you saw a situation. Let's see. What I'm trying to read some of this as well. So what happens to the people currently receiving employment? There are three main levels of unemployment insurance right now: state benefit, federal emergency compensation. This is very a long.
Well, it's a double-edged sword. It cuts both ways. Number one, the good part about it is that we're not going to go into debt anymore, and so that's good for the country as in the long term. But for these folks that still haven't been able to find work, and the retailers that they spend money with, whether it's the grocery store or if they're still hanging on trying to pay their mortgage or their rent or whatever, that's going to have an effect on them. But then again, maybe it's going to. A lot of people were on the fence about going to work, and they were kind of hanging around trying to find the perfect job. They might have to settle and go work out in the field to do lawn work or some of these other things that are beneath most Americans, accordingly.
I think it's a lot of very interesting you bring that up, John. I was speaking to a young man yesterday who's I know his father, and he'd asked me to sort of talk to him about opportunities in the field I work in, and what was interesting was he was telling me that he had a great degree from a very prestigious university and had been laid off a few months ago and was having a terrible time trying to find a job because he was overqualified. He was just that employers, it's not that he wasn't being offered jobs, it was that he was too overqualified. People felt that he wouldn't last. He would move on very quickly as soon as he found another job. And so you're right. I think some people have been looking for the perfect job, and at the same time, the employers are looking for somebody who's going to stick around. They don't want to invest time, effort, and money into somebody and then them to find out they're going to leave because we remember how that happened a few years ago.
Yeah, exactly. Sarah Palin? No. That's something else completely, I guess. But anyway, when I first heard that this morning, I felt sorry for the folks who have been unemployed and are counting on that check. But then again, it's like we can't keep coming up with money we don't have unless we cut in other areas. So maybe our Congress is finally getting a backbone, and they're looking to see what has happened in the primaries, and they better straighten up if they want to keep their seats in November. What else is going on financially? What about the futures today?
Yeah, we also saw some a new accord on finance rules that will be probably passed into law, and those will be wide sweeping. We'll get to those next week when we get a little clearer color. But let me just tell you.